Well, hello, everybody, and welcome again to the Bold Vision Podcast. This is season 3. And today with me, I have a very special guest. His name is Moe Choice. He lives in the UK, but he deals with people all over the world. He helps everybody. And today we are going to bring you so much value on branding and AI and marketing. I'm very excited, Moe. How the hell are you, Bo?
I'm very well. Nice to be here.
Cool.
A small correction. I used to live in the UK. I'm a digital nomad now, so I only spend a maximum of 12 weeks in the UK for tax reasons. So there you go.
Well, that's cool. It's better to be a nomad, right? That means you can go anywhere because we're going to talk about freedom. We're going to talk about all kinds of good stuff. So, yeah, what's
Right.
it like being a nomad? Tell me a little bit about that.
If like it's really important to manage your expectations and to understand the pros and the cons of it, and also to be sure that you know where you're going and what you need to be doing when you get there. I think that's it's you have to be super organized. I think if you're chaotic, if you're one of these chaotic, you don't know where you left this and everything's a mess and you can't find this when you need it, don't be a nomad, in my opinion. Yeah,
Okay.
just go
All
on
right.
holiday. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I love it. I love it. So yeah, let's just talk about you for a little bit. I really want the audience to get to know more about you, about your businesses, what you've built, your brand, and then we'll go into why that is so important for other businesses to understand.
Happy to do that. Sounds exciting.
Cool. So tell me about your business. Tell me about, the things that you've built, and what you're doing now and how you got there.
So, um, how long do you want me to? Do you want detailed, or do you want like overview, or how
Yeah,
do you
well,
want me
I
to do
mean, I
it?
know that you've built 12 businesses over time, right? Some of them you've exited, some of them you sold, some of them you're still doing. So let's just talk about, the present. I mean, I know or give the audience just a little information about your background and maybe some of the businesses that you've built.
So I built mainly retail and hospitality businesses.
Okay.
So retail stores, bars, restaurants, cafe concepts, nightlife events. I opened the first co-working space in Dubai before it was legal. It was illegal to have different businesses in one space. I opened the first dark kitchen in Dubai, which is where you prepare food for other establishments, which is why they call it a cloud kitchen, is another way of looking at it. I was involved in event catering, DJ management. I helped bring some brands over from America to Dubai, China Grill and Asia to Cuba and places like that. And then I gave it all up because I realized I wasn't fulfilled, and I wanted a bit more freedom, and I didn't want to have to deal with regulatory and government and landlords and staff and HR and investors and partners. And once I realized that, I came up with a plan of how to become a solopreneur. And my definition of a solopreneur is I'm doing what I want when I want from wherever I choose to be without having to ask for permission from anybody, and without being dependent on any one individual or group of people. I can just live life on my own terms and not have to explain myself to anybody. So I came up with that idea in 2012. It took me about 3 years to get out of my businesses. And by 2015, I started building. And it's now just over, it's gonna be 11 years. 8th of February is where I left my businesses behind. So 8th of February this year will be 11 years since I embarked on my journey of solopreneurship. And I've only got one business now, and that's me, Moe Choice. It's my personal brand, and it's whatever the hell I want to do, and that's my business.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So yeah, let's talk about branding for a minute. Because I do most of my audience is business owners, a lot of people in construction, they're in that industry. Of course, I reach other people outside of that. But let's just talk about, why it's so important for you to have a personal brand. For anybody, any company, any solopreneur, any kind of business, can we elaborate on that a little bit, and tell us, in your expertise, why it's so important?
Well, if you think about what Steve Jobs did for Apple, and what Elon Musk is doing for his companies, that's all personal brand. That's because I recognized as an individual, and because people trust me, it makes it much easier for my businesses to attract investors, customers, partners, staff, obviously. So
Mm-hmm.
you can rely on the quality of the product. There's lots of businesses where we don't know who's in charge, right? Car
Right.
companies, things like that. Like we don't know who's in charge, and we don't care. But those businesses are reliant on the brand of the business. So if anything happens with the business, it's very difficult to survive that or to progress from that. Whereas if it was your own personal brand, you've got the ability to rebuild, do new businesses, get different opportunities. People remember you, and all these cliches. People buy from people, and everything's emotional, and the connection and the trust comes from deeper inside us, and that's what your personal brand is doing. It's building trust from others and recognition that I know what I'm doing and I'm somebody you should trust. And so the opportunities are therefore endless. No, I don't understand it in any other way. And I wish I knew this when I was 17 instead of 37, because I would have got building my personal brand a lot earlier. And that's not to say I wasn't. Like when I was in Dubai, that's where I was building my businesses. Like my personal brand came through networking and reputation and relationships. So I was building a personal brand, but I never thought of it as a personal brand. I just said, this is me doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a business owner. But actually, you're building your personal brand. If someone's familiar with you, your ethos, your principles, your values, your beliefs, how you see the world, what you're interested in, what you're good at, what you're not good at, then you're building a personal brand if people
Okay.
recognize that in you. And so, because of social media, you can now build the personal brand borderless to as many people as you want to, rather than sticking to your circle, your network, your industry, your sector. And so,
Okay.
I think no matter what you do as a business owner, you want to leverage social media to talk about who you are, what drives you, what you want, how you want to change the world, what's important to you. And I think you'll bring in you'll have a much better chance of connecting with the right people than if you're just doing what you're doing. Obviously.
Right. So, in your opinion, and I mean, I've been building my personal brand, talking about the things that mean, have purpose and mean a lot to me, trying to bring value, trying to educate people, about SEO, about Google business profiles, about social media, about posting, about AI, all of these things that I always talk about. And so, if there's a business owner out there that's listening that doesn't really understand like how to build their brand, or are you more visibility, they should be putting themselves out there with video or podcasts or content as much as possible.
Yeah, I think if you think about it, Sonia, as an actor, right, or a politician. Like, okay, I don't want to get political, but how did
Okay.
Trump win the first election? He leveraged social media. He went and talked to people that weren't being spoken to. He tried to tap into the youth, particularly the second time he got, right? He started going on podcasts. So this is all personal branding, right? Personal branding is in my world, I'm not saying I'm not an expert at it, but in my world, it's showing up as the person you want to show up as, speaking the truth in the way you want to speak it, talking about the things that matter to you and that interest you in a way that's honest. And however you do that, whether you write, whether you record video, whether you do public speaking, whether you turn up on podcasts, this is all personal branding, because this is all you showing up so that more people recognize you for who you really are. And that's the secret, who you really are. You can't fake things, because we don't have a great memory, human beings. And so you can't say things in one way or in a certain forum and then say things somewhere else. And particularly now with social media, you'll get found out very quickly as somebody who flip flops between. You see it with politicians all the time, right? They flip flop between different positions, and we're like, we don't trust that guy. And we got receipts for everything now. Everything's on documented. So show up as talk about the things that really matter, that occupy your mind. Talk about those things with clarity. Now, of course, you can add comedy and personality and humor and entertainment to it. Of course you can, but you can also be dead serious and build a brand, as long as you're captivating the audience,
Okay.
right? And the only way to captivate the audience is to talk about what you're passionate about, what you're interested in. That's the only way. Not to think about what do they want to hear and how do they want to see it. And it doesn't matter. You can do it in whatever way. You can dance around naked on TikTok if you want. And then people are going to go, oh, that's the guy who dances around naked. That's a personal brand. So whatever occupies your mind, go and do that. Talk about that with clarity. Bring some value to the conversation. There's no point talking surface level crap. You have to be deep in your thinking, and you have to understand your position so you can talk clearly and with clarity. And I think that's how you build your personal brand. I don't think it's more complicated. So I want to summarize, Sonia, what I tell people when
Okay.
they create content.
Okay.
Three things you need to, three things.
Okay.
Show up consistently, because if you're not going to
Right.
do that, there's no brand. Number two, talk about what occupies your mind, what you're most thinking about. And number
Mm-hmm.
three, don't lie. That's it.
That's that's some good advice. That's very good advice. Yeah. I mean,
I
be
think so.
yourself, showing up. I say that all the time, being consistent is probably one of the most important things because a lot of people, they start and they don't really see progress or they don't think that they are being noticed or recognized or they're not getting enough followers or maybe they're not putting it out there. But my experience is just like with sales. I mean, how many times do you have to touch a person before you can
Right.
actually maybe sell them something or get them as a client? Well, this is no different. I mean, it's like repetitive over and over and over and over. You have to keep saying the same thing over and over and over. And it's just the
Can
way our
you
world works.
can you think of anything that's valuable to achieve, to accomplish, that doesn't require consistency?
No, take work and okay, let's say you want to lose weight, right? Well, you can't just go on the treadmill one day and 20 pounds drops off. No, it takes months. And yes, it takes consistency for sure. Just like hard work, just like building a business. I mean, anything takes a long time. Rome wasn't built in a day. So
Learning to ride a bike when we were kids, learning how to read. Right, we had to say the ABCs every day, and then we had to put sentences together every day. Right? There's no consistent discipline, and consistency is the key to anything you want to achieve. The discipline to stay focused on and not get distracted by nonsense, and the consistency to keep repeating the tasks that you need to repeat every single day. Right? Your teeth stay healthy because you're consistently brushing.
correct.
Right? That's all it is. That's it. Game over. That's the book. Discipline and consistency. And find your discipline and find your consistency, and you'll achieve whatever you want to achieve.
No, I definitely agree with that. And another thing I wanted to say is, people don't hire companies first. They hire people behind them. So, building relationships are really, really important. And so for someone, say there's a new business owner, how do they, in your opinion, I mean, what's the best way that you go about building relationships?
Well, you have to show. Woody Allen has this famous quote: 80% of success is showing up. Yeah, that's it. Show up. I say 100% of success is showing up as who you really are. I think that's the ultimate success, right? You're being yourself, what you said earlier.
Okay.
But you have to show up to networking events, panel discussions, reach out to people, talk to them, ask questions, talk to your customers, talk to your suppliers. Don't sit there. How many I love this because it makes me better than others in terms of my operations. People only reach out when they need something. That's not building a
Okay.
relationship. Right? Building a
Right.
relationship is reaching out when you don't need anything and asking and remembering. Hey, how's your daughter doing? Hey, what you were trying to sell the house. Did you manage to do that? Hey, it's just personable, right? Take an
Hmm.
interest in people, and this isn't. This is the problem. You can't fake this. So
No.
the work is to learn how to get curious about people. If you're not interested in people, why? Why are you not interested? That you got a problem. That isn't
Right.
other. It's like from that show Justified. If you run into an asshole in the morning, you ran into an asshole. But if you keep running into assholes all day, you're the asshole, right? So so
Yeah,
so it's this idea. It's like you if you want to be in business, you have to love connecting with people.
for
You
sure.
have to love. You don't have to like everybody. That's not what I'm
Right.
saying. But you have to love engaging, exchanging ideas, talking to people. You messaged me. Let's get on a call. Let's do it. No problem. Right? No agenda. I had no agenda with you. It's like let's meet and see what happens. Like there's no. That's the idea. Now again. I'm not saying you have to always do that. I get on sales calls. I tell people, hey, you want to get on a call so I can show you how I can help you make money, and I'm going to pitch
Right.
you an offer. There's no, that's intentional though. That's intentionality. But I only offer them that, Sonia, when there's when there's a rapport, when there's
Right.
some sort of human connection built. So it's one of the reasons I send voice notes on LinkedIn, because you can hear, I love getting voice
Yes.
notes because I can hear the energy behind it and the intentionality and the tonality. Like that's most of communications it's not the words, it's the way you deliver
Right.
the words that matter, right? So this for me is basic common sense. Is you build relationships with people by meeting up with them, listening to them, taking an interest in them, asking questions, paying attention. Two ears, one mouth, Judge Judy used to say, right? Use them in
Right.
proportion, right? Expand your network. Don't just do the same things that are not giving you any value and helping you grow. And you're gonna know, you're gonna feel that you're now expanding your network because you have more people connecting with you, more people who know you, more people asking about you. That's how you know. That's the feedback from the market, right? The people care about you now.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that. I've been sending voice notes for quite some time now, probably over a year, even though I only sent you one voice note and I typed the rest. But yeah, I mean, people, when I reach out to them, I mean, that's a good, that's a good, tip to let people know who are on LinkedIn. I think voice notes go a lot further because I do some cold outreach, with business owners and construction owners, and I want them to hear my voice. I want them to hear the passion, if I'm inviting them on the podcast, or I just want to have a conversation with them and get to know them. And, that's why I do what I do, because I do love helping people. I love helping them be successful, with their websites and SEO. And we're going to talk a little bit about AI. We're definitely going to talk about LinkedIn. But yeah, and that's why I have this podcast, because I love meeting people and I like to hear their stories and I like to hear their lessons learned. And I like to, get their opinions and their expertise in their industry, and, what works and what doesn't work, so that we can bring value to other people that hopefully are listening and, following me and getting some value out of this. So let's just hit on AI just a little bit. What, in your opinion, for the people that are not using AI, what do you think? I mean, because I just keep hearing that, if you're not using AI, I mean, AI is really going to separate the winners from the ones who disappear. And let me just say this one other thing I really want to say, because, about a year ago, when I would talk about AI, people were so afraid. They were very afraid of it. And they felt like it was just going to take over the jobs, that we were going to have robots just, miraculously just take over the freaking world. And, we're learning now that if you use it responsibly, I mean, it can help in so many ways. So let's get your take on AI and versus people that are not using it. What do you see for the future?
So, a couple of things to say just before I answer that question. Number one, we've always had technology that takes over jobs. The Industrial Revolution, cars, machinery. Now you go to the supermarkets. What do you guys call them? Grocery stores, and you don't even have to speak to someone. You just go to the till, and this has always happened. So this whole thing about it's going to take jobs, yes, it's going to take jobs. Exactly the same way, smartphones and laptops and computers. Now, in terms of I don't use AI or I don't want to use AI or whatever it is, that's like saying I don't want to use the internet, I don't want to use smartphones, I don't want to use airplanes. It's like, okay, well then you're going to be left behind. So it depends on what you want to do. Now that's the first thing. It's like, it's just stupid. It's here. You have to learn how to use it. Now, if anyone does use it, they'll realize how stupid AI is, and so you wouldn't be afraid. The more I use it, the less I'm afraid that it's going to take over anything, to be honest with you. But that could change. That could change very quickly, because obviously the speed of which it's learning, and we don't know how far potentially it can go. So that's another thing to think about. It's like, what can it do and what can't it do? It can't read images properly. It doesn't have the emotional connection. It's using its information from everybody. So, you know what I mean? It's like, it's very hard. Why is business so interesting? Because the market's changing constantly, because the market changes as people change their likes and their thoughts, and new products come in and new ideas and new regulations. And there's 8 billion of us in the market. So So the market's constantly changing. It's like the butterfly effect idea. It's like someone does something and then suddenly there's a ripple effect and the whole market changes. And we know this is true because otherwise what worked before would always work. If the market wasn't changing, the marketing would always work. The same marketing, the same kind of fashion, the same kind of food, the same kind of music, the same kind of movies would always work. But it doesn't work because people get bored of things and desensitize and they want something new. So we have to keep refreshing the market. Okay, what AI is doing is it's trying to understand the entire market and then giving you one answer. How? The market's always changing. So AI is there to help simplify our lives. It helps me brainstorm. It helps me rewrite things. It helps me give me ideas about, do you think about this and that? That's where it helps. Now, to your question about how to use AI, you have to start to talk to it. I
Correct.
don't understand how people don't do this. The first thing I did, I used Grok, right? I don't like ChatGPT. Obviously, I
Okay.
started with ChatGPT because that was the first one, but I like Grok.
Okay.
I went on to Grok, and the first question I ever asked him was, "What do you want to know about me to help me create my best life? What do you want to?" And he gave me a list of questions, and I answered them, and I gave them to him. And then I said, "What else do you want to know?" And I just kept doing that, and I'm still doing that now. "Hey, Grok, I'm thinking of spending 3 months in Uruguay. Based on what you know about me, what else do you want to know?" And he'll tell me, I'll answer, and then I'll say, "Based on that, what do you think I should do? Be careful from this, and you know how you like to sleep at night, and you want a quiet place, and you like your half and half. They don't have half and half in Uruguay." And so all I'm doing is talking to Grok all the time, right?
Right.
To so that he understands what I want, and then I ask him what else he needs to know, and it's that feedback loop. It's the same as if you're working on a project, construction project or a team. You want a feedback loop, right? You want the guys have come in and done the cement. Okay, then they have to inform these guys, and then they have to come back. There's a delay in the delivery. Blah blah's happened. Oh, we have a problem with the pipeline, and you want that feedback to constantly feed in so that the project manager or the construction manager, whatever you call it, knows what's going on, so they can then offer up the next decision. And that's
Correct.
how I see it. AI is helping you make better decisions at quicker
Absolutely.
speed. That's all.
Yeah.
So
And
training.
the
So
more you talk to it, the more you're
of course,
training it
of
constantly.
course, of course, like your team, like your kids, like your staff, like your co-founders, like your partner, like your wife, like your husband. It's just communication. And the thing is, we
Mhm.
suck at communicating, which is why we suck at using AI. We suck at asking questions. We make too many assumptions. We don't ask enough questions. We don't listen when we're asking questions. And on top of that, you have this disconnect between a computer, a laptop, a machine, and a human. So we know that we're talking to a machine. So that lack of emotional connection, we know. So it makes us a little bit, it's a bit awkward, right?
Mhm.
But that's what I thought anyway. That was my theory. But it turns out most people are using these LLMs because they want to chat to somebody because they're lonely. That's what it turns
Yeah.
out. That's what I heard the data says. So
Oh,
so that's
really?
super
Okay.
interesting for me too. Yeah,
Okay. Well, I mean, because I'm like
allegedly.
you. I mean, I use ChatGPT and I've had it on my phone for a very long time. And I talk to
Yeah.
it. And I mean, it has helped me in all areas of my life. I mean, not just personal. Sometimes I'm just brainstorming. I get an idea and I start talking to it. When I decided I was going to leave Virginia and, I was going to come back to Texas, it knows so much about me. And I gave it all the reasons of why I was thinking of moving and, about my business. And I got feedback and it's all based on data. And, I love it. I use it for everything. I mean, when I was in construction, I used it to help me be a better superintendent, to answer RFIs, to get answers, to solve problems. I mean, that's what we are. If you're in the construction industry or any industry, really, you're a problem solver. I mean, let's face it, we're here to solve problems and to make life
Yeah.
easier, to help other people. And I
Yeah.
just think that AI is a very good way of getting answers quickly. And, but again, you have to be a human to put in the input, to give it the information, to ask the questions, to get the output that you're looking for. Without a person or without a human, it doesn't do anything. I mean, you have to have someone telling it what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's exactly right. It all comes down to how clear is your instruction and how clear is your question. That's every life comes down to that. It's the same when I'm coaching conversations, or when I'm leading a sports team, or when I'm leading a service in a restaurant. It's how clearly are you communicating? Does everybody know? And how quickly are you getting the information that you need? And the quickest way to get the information you need is to ask the right question at the right time. That's the quickest way to get the information that you need. And AI can
Correct.
help you. AI can help you get better at that just by talking to it. Forget about what the information is. Just by talking to AI and figuring out the best way to ask a question, the right way to frame a question, I think that's already useful. It is. But to summarize AI, you guys have to pick your AI of choice. I would highly recommend you don't use ChatGPT, by the way. I would highly recommend you use something else, depending on what, you can figure this out, but like Claude's very good for writing, and Perplexity for research and things like that. Grok's very good at
Mm-hmm.
reasoning. And so pick your LLM of choice. There are some platforms now that have all of them on it, and it will kind of work through all of them. Pick your LLM of choice and upload information. Grok has my terms and conditions and my contracts and my finances. I upload everything onto there,
Yep.
because then I say, analyze this stuff and tell me what you see. And so you gotta befriend it. The same way
Correct.
we befriended our phones, right? We started to get to know our phones, and how do we use our phone, and how do we chat, and where do we put the apps, and what are the apps that we need? And it's the same idea.
Yeah.
It's the same idea.
Yeah. That reminds me, what were those old phones? What were the ones that only did emails back in the day? Black something?
Black
What were those?
BlackBerry. Yeah.
Blackberry, that's it. I swear to God, my kids gave me the hardest time because I used to have a Blackberry. And, they were all on Android and iPhones. And I mean, I refused for so long because I was so afraid. I didn't want to learn new technology. And I look back and I just laugh at myself because it's really comical. I mean, how long I had that BlackBerry, and I just thought, I was never going to be able to learn the new iPhone, and I was Android for a long time before I even went to iPhone, and that was a big step. So yeah, I think we get set in our ways, and we're used to using old technology. We're afraid to learn the new. But I guess my biggest message that I want to get across to anybody listening to this, and especially people in the construction trades, is I just want you to understand that AI really does help manage your inefficiencies. It really helps you be more efficient and get things done. I know, people, for businesses, I mean, they're missing service calls, they're just missing calls, or, they're not following up, fast enough. So they're missing leads that way. And there's just I mean, I'm not even going to go into the list of things that AI can help you with. But yeah, I just, I want to have a conversation about it because I think it is important. It's on everybody's radar. People are using it more. And I like to talk about it because I really do think that the people that are using it will have a competitive edge in the future versus those that are not using it.
I mean, if you own a construction company, are you not investing in new technology within your construction work? Like, are you not taking advantage of it? And this is the reason why businesses go out of business.
Okay.
Because why would I go to this firm or this company who has outdated technology when I can go to this company and use the more up-to-date technology, right? And so
Right.
and so anyone who owns a construction business knows this. And if you're set in your ways and you don't want to adapt, you're going to die. We know there's no standing still. You either evolve. It's the survival of the fittest. You either evolve and adapt to the new environment, or you die. So if you're ready to die, don't evolve and don't adapt to any new technology, and die. No problem. The market doesn't need you, actually. You're
Correct.
irrelevant to the market. You're of no use to us.
Yeah, that's about as honest as you get. To say, to put it bluntly, I agree with you
I think
100% for sure.
I think so.
Cool. All right. Well, let's talk about LinkedIn for a minute, because we had a conversation and it was very funny, when we first talked before I asked you to be on this podcast. Well, I mean, I'd asked you to be on the podcast and, we talked just to get to know each other a little bit. And there was like a day or two before, I was just scrolling one day on my phone. This is a true story. This is me being completely honest here in all of my flaws. And I think it's a funny story. So I was, on the couch. It was late at night. I had done a networking deal. I had, some drinks there, came home. I made me some more drinks. And let's just say I was feeling no pain that evening. And I was, just in my la la land. And so I was scrolling because I really don't scroll a lot on my phone. I really don't, because I know when I do, I just get in this zone. And then, you're like, oh, you want to buy stuff, especially get me on TikTok. Oh my God. But anyway, so I don't know if I was on YouTube or LinkedIn. It must have been. And I was going through some really old content and I was looking way back, and maybe I was thinking in my mind, God, let me just go back and look through some of this stuff and see, if I can come up with some new ideas or if there's anything I like. And so I went back, and as I was going backwards, I started to read through some of them and listen to some of my videos and listen to some of my content. And then I looked at, how many people saw it. And I'm like, well, golly, this is a lot of content. This was a good message. And, I'm always hearing that only like 1% of people actually see your content. So I was like, screw it. I just started reposting, right? I started reposting, and I must have reposted maybe 6, 7, things from the past. And so the next day, Mo and I are talking, and he's like, yeah, I went and looked at your profile and I see you repost a lot. And we laughed about it. And I said, why not? Why not? I mean, who says that reposting isn't a good idea? And so after we had this discussion, I went and did a little research on reposting. And so we're going to talk about it. So I'm going to tell you what I found out. And I thought it was interesting because according to the data and according to AI and, everything that I put in, it says now when you repost someone else's content, it doesn't do the same thing as if you are reposting your own content. It says that LinkedIn deprioritizes shared content because of its values' original perspective. But when you repost your own content, it performs totally different. So, first of all, LinkedIn sees it as fresh activity. Your audience sees it as a new piece of content. And the algorithm treats it like a new post with existing credibility. So it says, why do creators like Justin Welsh repost the same idea dozens and dozens of times? LinkedIn does not penalize frequent posting. Posting more doesn't hurt reach, but it does not guarantee more reach. But LinkedIn says, well, everybody knows LinkedIn just keeps adjusting things so creators never know, the game. They don't want you to understand the algorithm. We know that. So another thing they say is posting the same time every day, because I hear a lot of people about consistency. They post the same time every single day, 8 a.m. Like they think that that's going to give them more reach. But in reality, it says that it doesn't. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that, Mo?
I post at the same time every day only because of habit and because of routine. Because it's important that you can't just post, stash and dash. You have to be active on the platform. We've tried it with just posting without being on the platform, and it kills the reach. So that's for sure. So that's the reason I do it, because I'm not one of these who's just on LinkedIn all the time. So, I can post now because I'm on LinkedIn, I can post now. So I don't, that's the reason I do it. But the main thing, I think logic says the more you post, the more people will see your content. And I want them to see my content and my brand. I don't care which post they see.
Correct.
And so as long as I'm producing consistent content that's talking about the things I do and the problems I solve to the people that I want to work with, then I need to get as much of it out of there and on as many platforms. So really, the goal is to post as many times as possible on as many different platforms as possible so that I can reach as many people as possible. And that's a difficult thing to achieve unless you had a budget and a team and and you were able to leverage that. So you have to do what's easy. Posting at the same time every day is better than not posting. Posting at the
Correct.
same time every day is better than not posting every day, right? Posting something about your offer is better than posting something about your cat or your dog. So you have to do the best you can with the situation you've got in a way that allows you to be consistent. And if consistency comes from posting at the same time or reposting, I'd rather you repost your old content than not post. So if you're sitting there going, I don't have time
Correct.
and I don't have the brain space to post, let me just go and repost some old stuff. That's better because what are you doing? You're knocking on doors. Let's go back to the old way of marketing, knocking on doors, right? If you
Yeah.
don't post, you're not knocking on a door. If you post the same thing, you're knocking on the same door. Let's just go with that. Well, if
Okay.
you knocked on that door and you didn't get an answer or you didn't get a sale, then you'd want to go and knock on the same door, surely, to see if you got a
Right.
chance to make the sale. So that's all it is. We got to get out of our heads with this, Sonia, and just do as much work as you can, as consistently as possible, and show up and do good work and get out of your heads and don't try to be clever and don't think about the algorithm or any of this crap. Just do as much work as you can in the best way possible, in the right way possible. And it's a numbers game. It's always been a numbers game. Sports is a numbers game. Marketing is a numbers game. Advertising, the more reach, the more consistency, the better the results.
I agree. And even though I agree with you, you need to post, every day if possible. But according to the data, I mean, and I prefer to post every day at the same time. Like you, it's habit, it's discipline. My stuff is automated. I use a CRM that, I build all my content at the end of the month for me and my clients, and it's all scheduled to go out. I like doing it like that. But according to the data, it says random times, as long as you're posting regularly, but posting the same time every day does not guarantee more reach. And another thing that I did find out is why it says why reposts are actually stronger than new content. And there's a couple of reasons why. It says your voice is consistent. LinkedIn favors posts with prior engagement. So if you've had prior engagement on a post and you're reposting it, it's going to go further for whatever reason. That's another one. It says,
I will say, Sonia, I agree. I mean, there's things that you can do that will improve reach, but you're talking about the reach of one post.
correct
I'm talking about reach in general.
in
So
general.
okay,
Okay.
so let's say I post at the same time,
Okay.
right? And let's say my post gets 1,000 impressions. Fair?
Yep.
Let's all my posts. We get 1,000 impressions because I'm posting at the same time. Let's say I change up the time, right? My second post gets now what 1,200 impressions, 2,000 impressions, just say, right? Let's say we double because we changed the time. Okay, but I'm going to get 2,000 if I post twice.
Okay. That
If I
makes
post three
sense.
times, I'm going to get 3,000. So
Okay.
it depends on how much. It depends on how much reach, how much extra reach you're getting, because it's about total impressions from total users, not just one post. How much reach can I get with that one post? So,
Okay.
so that's the key. So it's all. Look, at the end of the day, what matters? Am I booking in? Am I booking out my call slots for me? I'm
Exactly.
not saying
Is your
everybody else.
calendar full?
If my calendar is full, I don't need to change anything. So if your
Correct.
calendar is not full, or you don't have enough engagement with what you're doing, you have to do more of it, or you have to do it better. That's all, Sonia, we're
Correct.
saying. We either have to do it
Correct.
better, or we have to do more of it. The problem I have with this, how do we hack the algorithm? And these are shortcuts that we're looking for, and I don't think it's the right mentality. It might work for posting, but the mentality of shortcuts, right, is not the right one. The mentality of consistency is the right one. And so if
Correct.
you can get consistent with your posting, forget about all the other noise, right? If you can be
Right.
consistent at posting at different times, great, then post at different times consistently. Perfect. That's the key, I think. That's the message I'm trying to get.
Exactly. No, and I believe mindset. I mean, I'm all for always making new content, posting regularly, being consistent. But just knowing that if I do repost from time to time, it doesn't look like I'm being penalized for that. So just wanted to say that,
Right, right.
anybody that wants to repost content, especially if you think it was very good, go for it, go for it and see what
You're,
happens.
you're Do your construction, the people in your audience and construction and stuff, do they post on LinkedIn?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I see a lot of people posting. I mean, yeah, like there's concrete companies, remodelers, there's a painter. Oh my God, he's on there all the time. He videos his crew. I mean, there are quite a few
Amazing.
very, very active construction businesses on there.
Amazing. That's really
You'd be
cool.
surprised. You'd be surprised. Yeah, and more and more. And I'm seeing more and more, much more than I did, a couple of years ago. I mean, people are getting the point. They are getting the message, that, people want to engage with video. Video is what's in. And the more video that you can do, I mean, if you are laying floors, I had a floor guy that he was actually on my podcast. He's someone that I met at a BNI, and he owns Footprints Flooring in Virginia. I mean, this guy is on it. I mean, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I mean, I was seeing his stuff after I became friends with him, and I was like, oh my God. And so when he was on my podcast, I'm like, dude, you got to talk to these people. Like, how do you find time to do this? And he's a review fanatic. I mean, he's only been in business like 15 months, and he's got like 75 or over 100 reviews. And I asked him, I'm like, how are you doing this? And I mean, it's a priority for him. Like, he understands that engagement is really important. And so his crew, I mean, every day when they're laying floors or carpet or whatever they're doing, they are videoing. Like, that is part of their job, not just to go in and lay floors. They know that they got to take a video at the end of each job, and that they need to give that to him to post. And the same with the reviews. He's like, when I go to get these people to pay me, before I even let them pay me, I make sure they give me a review first, or I put it on the invoice or whatever. I mean, you got to ask. So some people are very what's the word I'm looking for? It is possible, but you just got to get out of your own way. You got to have the mindset that you need to do this, and you just need to make the adjustment and get aligned with your team and with your employees, and you got to get them on board.
Wise words, Sonia. Wise words.
I agree. I agree. All right. Well, I don't know. What else you want to talk about? Anything come to your mind before we start closing a little bit? We've been going on about
No,
35 minutes now.
no, I think we're good. I think we covered a lot there, and just to maybe summarize it all, uh, you know, um, building your brand with consistency, um, using content and AI. There you go. Find a way to
Yep.
build your brand consistently by using content and AI. And just embrace it, man. The world is the world. The world doesn't give a shit about your feelings and your opinion and what you are, resistant to. She doesn't care. She's going to do what she does, and she's going to wipe you away if you're not playing ball. And she will reward you if you do play ball. So play ball with the market is what I would say.
Agree. And I'm just going to add my takeaways in my own words. So if I have anything to add to that, yes, build your personal brand. Even if you don't feel ready, just start. Okay. Just take the imperfect action. Repost your best content. Your audience never saw it the first time anyway. So don't feel bad if you want to repost. I'm all for it. Adopt AI systems now or get left behind. Like we said, you'll be gone, and we don't want you to disappear. So you need to adapt and align your personal vision and your business mission with your own values. So with that being said, I am Sonia. I'm your host of the Bold Vision podcast, and I want to thank Moe Choice for joining us today. I hope that everybody got something, some kind of value from this conversation, from this podcast. So Mo, if people want to get in touch with you, I'm going to give you the opportunity to let everyone know how to contact you, if they want to know more about your services and get you to help them.
I love that. Thank you, Sonia. My permanent residence is LinkedIn, so all you have to do is find me on LinkedIn, Moe Choice. I run a live masterclass quite regularly about how to leverage LinkedIn, and you can leverage LinkedIn to get whatever you want: investors, staff, jobs, partners, real estate, Bitcoin, gold, whatever you want, you can get it on LinkedIn. And so all you need is to learn how to use LinkedIn, how to create your profile so that it's clear what you're looking for, and how to go and reach out to the people that you're interested in reaching out to. And I show you how to do that no matter what your status is in this live masterclass. And I'd like to offer your listeners a couple of bonuses if they sign up on the link that I'm going to give you, which is moechoice.com, moechoice.com/podcast. If you sign up on that because of Sonia, because you're a listener of Sonia's podcast, you'll get some fast action bonuses as well on top of the sign up. And then I'll see you live on the masterclass.
That's awesome. Well, I hope people will jump on that. I know I certainly will. And I'm really glad that, you and I have had this opportunity to connect. Hey, I'm always about learning. And, I'm never the smartest person in the room. I'll be the first one to tell you that. And I don't want to be. I want to keep learning, keep evolving, and keep helping people. That's my mission. And you can follow me on YouTube and LinkedIn as well, everybody. So thank you. And we'll see you next time on the Bold Vision podcast. We'll catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.